Hello, this is a very brief introduction to the law of torts. The purpose of tort law is to compensate victims for harm caused by others. The word tort describes any injury caused by one person to another, other than that caused through a breach of contract. Now, tort law is divided into two categories. On one hand, we have intentional torts. These are harmful acts that are committed deliberately. For example, assault and battery are two intentional torts. An assault is the committing of a threat of imminent harm, and there is no need for physical contact to occur in order to constitute a legal assault. Okay? For example, if you're waving your fist in someone's face and yelling and screaming, that legally can be deemed an assault. Now, battery involves the intentional infliction of harmful or offensive physical contact. In other words, the actual touching. That would be the actual punch to a person's body. Okay? Now, tort liability is divided into two types. We have primary tort liability, and this arises from one's own personal wrongdoing. That would be the situation whereby you drive your car into the rear of another car. You committed that act personally, and you're personally liable. Now, there's also another type of tort liability that's called vicarious liability. This arises due to the actions of another making someone other than him or her being financially responsible for the tort. And I guess the classic example is when an employee commits a tort, causes harmful conduct and injury, and the employee can be deemed vicariously liable for the actions of the employee. Okay? Also, I should let you know that a tort can be committed by more than one person. If that's the case, there's actually statute law that allows a victim to sue any or all of the wrongdoers, and the court determine how each of them can be held responsible. For example, if two people attack a person and cause injury, a court can deem one person 20% responsible for the injuries and damage, and you can deem the other person 80% responsible for the damages to the victim. Okay? There's another category of torts, and this is what we call unintentional torts. These are harmful acts that are not committed deliberately, and they can be due to accident or mistake. The resulting harm is not intentional. Now, the most common unintentional tort is negligence. It should be noted that one's harmful conduct can give rise to two distinct legal consequences. For example, if you actually commit an assault or a battery, you can be sued in a civil court. That lawsuit will be brought by the victim. Okay? You can also be charged criminally. However, that suit or criminal proceedings will be brought by the government or the state. Okay? So there can be two different types of legal consequences for one specific act. Now, why is this? Well, essentially, there's two different purposes to each proceeding. The purpose of tort law is to basically compensate the victim for the injury. The purpose of criminal law is to punish the prohibited behavior, okay, by the state. Now, while statute law allows for tort liability to be apportioned amongst tortfeasors, there's statute law which also prohibits types of negligent lawsuits from even taking place. For example, if you're an employee and you hurt yourself at your workplace, there's a statute that takes away your right to sue your employer, okay? And that's basically due to the Workers' Compensation Act, okay? So you can't really sue your employer, and you're basically limited to making a claim for compensation before a government board. The same holds true with respect to car accidents. There's a statute that will take away your right to sue for your injuries caused from a car accident if those injuries are not serious. Primarily, these statutes are made with a view to reducing the amount of lawsuits that take place and to avoid people from spending a lot of money or incurring a large expense in recovering their damages. Now, one thing about tort risk, you should know, and we're going to be talking about this in the course, and you'll see some course material on it, is that tort risk can be managed if you run a business by a risk management plan. That's when you basically assess all the legal risk and you determine an appropriate course of action to eliminate that risk or to reduce it. Thank you very much.